In this video, we will be discussing different types of clouds. But first, let's discuss what clouds actually are. Clouds are large groups of tiny water droplets that cling to pieces of dust in the atmosphere. They come in all different shapes and sizes. Some are low to the ground, and some are way high up in the atmosphere. Scientists have developed a system to classify the different types of clouds. Each cloud that you see can be put into one of the many categories based on both their general shape and how high up they are in the atmosphere. So let's talk about cirrus clouds. These are the highest clouds in the atmosphere, and they are thin, wispy clouds. The word cirrus actually means curl of hair in Latin, so they have like a nice curve to them. And they'll appear on days with fair weather and low winds. Because of freezing temperatures high up in the atmosphere, these clouds are usually made up of ice crystals, which give them that bright white appearance. Cirrus clouds form in flat sheets, so they are not as thick as other types of clouds. They're also spread out in patches with sort of large breaks of sky in between them, so you'll see thin, wispy sheets on a blue background. Since cirrus clouds are so far from the ground, they aren't actually often affected by changing weather on the Earth's surface, so they just peacefully float along from west to east. Next, we'll talk about cumulus clouds. Cumulus clouds are bright white and look like big puffs of cotton. The word cumulus is Latin for heap or pile. This is because these clouds are extremely thick and tall and they grow upward. An easy way to remember this is the word accumulate, which means to gather an increasing amount. So these clouds are gathering and piling up. The bases are often flat and the tops are usually composed of rounded sections. Cumulus clouds are vertically developing clouds, which means they can actually become extremely tall. Stratus clouds are thick gray clouds that look like fog that hasn't really touched the ground. In fact, these clouds are actually made up of fog sometimes that has lifted up from the ground. As you may have guessed, these are low altitude clouds and they're not high up in the atmosphere at all. When someone says today is a gray and cloudy day, they're usually referring to these thick, uniform clouds. They produce a light drizzly rain or snow, especially when it's a hybrid Nimbostratus cloud. So I use the prefix nimbo. This comes from another type of cloud called nimbus clouds. The word nimbus means rain in Latin, so these are the clouds that are going to be producing your rain. Any cloud with the prefix nimbo or the suffix nimbus is some type of rain cloud. For example, like I said before, a Nimbostratus cloud is a stratus cloud that will cause rain or snow. Since stratus clouds are those dull, gray, featureless fog clouds, Nimbostratus will be seen on those gray, rainy days. Another type of rain cloud is a Cumulonimbus cloud. So this is a cumulus mixed with a nimbus. These are the heaping giant clouds that just pour rain. They can be huge. Their bases can start at only 100 feet off the ground and a top of 39,000 feet. Just one cloud, and these are your thunderheads. They'll form into the shape of an anvil, and it's a sign of a big storm. Heavy thunderstorms and tornadoes are associated with this type of cloud. A tornado is actually a rotating column of air that is connected to a cumulonimbus cloud. Here's a handy chart of the different types of clouds. You'll see there's cirrus, cumulus, and stratus, and then there's subtypes of each. So you'll have an altocumulus and an altostratus, a cirrocumulus, and a cirrostratus. These are different types of clouds within each category. But let's talk about mixing up the types. I did mention before there's hybrid types, so there's different types of nimbus clouds, and then there's different types of cirrus and stratus. We've specifically mentioned Nimbostratus and Cumulonimbus clouds. So let's go over some of the other kinds. Most clouds can be described by mixing and matching the terms cirrus, cumulus, stratus, and nimbus. For example, there's Cirrocumulus and Cirrostratus. Now, Cirrocumulus, we mentioned that cirrus clouds are really high up in the atmosphere, so a Cirrocumulus cloud will be a vertically developing cloud like this cumulus cloud, but it'll be higher up in the atmosphere. Another type are Cirrostratus clouds. These are thin, wispy sheet clouds, And what's really neat about these is that when it's dark and you see the moon, you'll have this halo-like appearance around the moon, and that's caused by these clouds. It's the light refracting through the cloud's vapor. So keep in mind that there aren't actually any clouds called Cirronimbus or Nimbostratus. This is because cirrus clouds seldom rain. They're really high up in the atmosphere. They're not really affected so much by our weather. When they do rain, they'll drop tiny ice crystals that are so small, and since the cloud is so high up, they generally evaporate before they even hit the ground. Aside from the main types of clouds, there's some really strange cloud formations that have been seen over the years. There are lenticular clouds. These are saucer clouds, and they look like a UFO. And these have a lens appearance and form in high altitudes, maybe over a mountain or a hill, and it will hug the hill and have like a fog in that area, and it's kind of eerie and creepy, but kind of cool looking as well. So this was a rough overview of different cloud types. If you have any questions about clouds, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear your questions. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.